So after discussing how an RL circuit, let me draw that circuit using a box method. So imagine there is that circuit of interest in this box, and there is that source, the input that we are interested in, connected here on one side on the left. So this is a sinusoidal voltage source Vm cos of omega t. And suppose whatever we are interested in is here on the right side of the box. So this shows the circuit. This is the input, and this side represents the output. So at the output here, we are interested in a current, and we saw that this IT, say it is equal to Im cos of omega t plus, say, some angle phi. Although we used theta in the previous one, but here I am using phi for the output current, and let us say we use that theta here. So instead of having a zero angle here, let us make it more general. So we are taking this expression for the input voltage Vt now. The amplitude is Vm, max amplitude, max voltage. Cos of omega to omega is the frequency, plus theta. Theta is the phase angle. So let me explain this phase angle a bit here. So if a cosine waveform starts as a nice cosine wave starting at t is equal to 0 like this, the peak happening here, then the phase angle for this case, so if this is Vm, this is minus Vm, then the expression for this would be Vm cos of some omega t plus 0. So there is no, 0 degree or 0. So there is no phase angle. So it's a nice cosine wave starting at t is equal to 0. But if we shift this waveform, so instead of starting from here, if it starts earlier on and goes down to 0 here, negative here, and this way, then what we have done, we have shifted the waveform, the cosine waveform, towards left, or we have made it to start early or earlier. Then the expression for this waveform would be cos of omega t minus 90 degree or minus pi by 2. So you see, this is the concept of phase angle. Phase angle tells whether it starts as that nice cosine waveform where it peaks at t equal to 0, or its peak occurs earlier or later. Similarly, we can delay this to be starting from here. I hope you understand this. So we have already covered this. This will be written as Vm cos of omega t. Sorry, this minus was for delay. This minus was for delay, not for early. For early, for a waveform starting early, it will be plus here. So this is that waveform starting with the delay. So it is a cosine waveform with a 90 degree delay, which actually is a sine wave. So this thing that tells where the max occurs with respect to this max occurring at 0 is the phase angle. So the phase angle for this waveform is 0. The phase angle for this one is plus 90, and the phase angle for this one is minus 90 degrees. So this is the concept of phase angle. And two sinusoids have a difference in phase angle that is of interest, often of interest. So here we are not assuming that there is a pure good cosine waveform, but it may be shifted earlier or delayed. and the current waveform may also not be a very good nice cosine waveform, but may have a different phase angle than this one. So so what is this circuit doing to this waveform? It is changing its amplitude. Vm changed to Im, omega remains the same, and this theta may not remain the same, it may change. So this is what we are trying to see. What is the effect of this circuit on this Vm and theta? Or in other words, on the amplitude and the phase angle. So the word used for this would be amplitude, and the word for this would be the phase angle. So any sinusoid like this, a cos of omega t plus theta or phi or alpha or beta, whatever, has an amplitude to tell about it, a phase angle, and a frequency. This is also important, but because in these circuits that we are dealing with, this omega will remain the same. It's not going to change. So the circuit is not going to change this omega. Why? Because these are linear circuits. In non-linear circuits, this omega may change as well. But luckily, we are dealing with linear circuits. So this is a linear circuit. Okay, so let us start with this. And although I have drawn this box here and shown the input here and the output here in this form, to make it more simple or simpler, we sometimes use this notation. So the arrows tell what is the input and what is the output. So here it's a voltage source, Vm cos of omega t plus theta at the input. Here is the linear circuit, and here the output that we are interested in, Im cos of omega t plus phi, some other phase angle, not the same theta. Okay, so let's now begin with our analysis and to understand how that magic happened that we had been using till now. Okay, so now one step at a time. Try to answer the questions that I pose here yourself before listening to what I say. So if this is a circuit and we know this is the input, this is the output, we know this, then what is going to be the output if I use this at the input? Vm sine of omega t plus theta. What will be the output here? So what is happening? There was a cosine function at the input. Then I removed that and applied this sine. So how is this cosine or sine related to this cosine? A cosine had been delayed by 90 degrees to get this. So what is going to happen to the output? The output will also get delayed by 90 degrees. So what do you think? We are going to get this at the output. Im sine of omega t plus phi. So if this is the input, this is going to be the output. This is what we know. We are starting with this. This is the first step in our understanding of the magic that is happening. So that if we change this input to this, the output is going to become this. This is why, because we are dealing with linear circuits. Okay, now I ask you another question. So if we change the input little again, say I multiply it by some constant, what will be the output now? Input multiplied by the constant, output is going to be multiplied by the same constant. We have read something, we have learned something that tells us this. What is that thing? What is that thing called? Why we have been able to write this? Yes, because of superposition, which actually is the same thing as because of linearity. Well, this is because of linearity. Uh, the use of superposition is now to come. Now is the use of superposition. This was the effect of linearity. So look at this thing now. Before this step, let me add another step. Tell me this thing, and here you are going to wonder what's happening, but you have to appreciate this is what mathematical world is. So if I multiply this Vm sine of omega t plus theta, not with k but with iota. Iota is a constant, so k here is the square root of -1, which is iota. So what will be the output? So first you may be thinking that how can an imaginary number get added and applied to a circuit? Okay, we are not applying it in laboratory. We are not applying it in real life. We are applying it on paper. Nobody can stop us to do this. And if linearity holds, that multiplication by any constant is going to result in the output being the same with that constant being multiplied to the output. So if input is multiplied by j, obviously we are going to get j iota Im sine of omega t plus phi. Remember, this is not a real function. We cannot produce or create this in real life, but we can do this on paper. We can do that in the mathematical world, and this is the beauty of mathematical modeling, that a model allows us to do things that we cannot do in real life so easily, and sometimes is impossible to do in real world. So now look at this thing. Tell me the answer. If I now apply Vm cos of omega t plus theta plus iota Vm sine of omega t plus theta at the input. Now there are two signals being added together. What will be the output? I think it's not a difficult thing to understand that the output would be Im cos of omega t plus phi plus iota Im sine of omega t plus phi. I hope you remember the Euler's identity. Euler's identity, which says that cos of theta plus iota, writing for you to remember, sine of theta is equal to e raised to the power iota theta. This is the Euler's identity. So for electrical engineering, we use iota as j. And if you remember this, then we can very easily say that what we are saying here is that we are applying this complex signal. So here we have 1, but if we multiply this by Vm, we are going to have Vm e raised to the power iota omega t plus theta, and the output would be Im e raised to the power iota omega t plus phi. So what we have come to, we started with a real signal, real input, real output. We used mathematics to understand that an imaginary input will cause an imaginary output, and we have come up to this point that a complex input is going to result in a complex output. And here is where we are close to understanding how the magic happens. Let us now go back to that RL circuit equation. So remember, we had this equation L di by dt plus Ri is equal to Vm cos of omega t. But here, if the input is this one, we are going to have Vm e raised power iota omega t plus theta. And we need to find I, this thing. What is this thing? And in finding this thing, what are the unknowns? We need to know what is Im. We need to know what is phi. So Im and phi are needed. We know this is iota, this is omega, and it's going to remain the same as the input. So we only the unknowns are this one and this one. So we need to solve this to find the expression for I. So let us, we know this is the form of the solution. So let us put this into this and get an equation. So let us put that here. So I is Im e j omega t e raised power j phi. We can write it like this, plus r, and we put Im e raised power j omega t e raised power j phi is equal to Vm e raised power j omega t e raised power j phi. So let us take the derivative of this one. So what do we get? This is a constant derivative with respect to t. So this will come out and we are going to get j omega. Sorry, and this L is there as well. J omega L Im e raised power j phi into e raised power iota omega t plus r Im e raised power j omega t e raised power j phi is equal to Vm e raised power j omega t e raised power j phi. I hope you understand that we will get this equation and there is nothing unclear how we have reached till this point. Now look at this closely. Here is all the magic going to happen now. Can you see that we can take e raised power jt common on both sides, and that will eliminate e raised power j omega t from the equation. So what are we left with? Whatever we are left with in this equation, does this equation have a t in it? T? No t. So starting from the time domain, we have come up with an equation where the t has vanished. So what has happened? Try to understand this. The resulting equation is r plus j omega L Im e raised power j phi is equal to Vm e raised power j phi. Oh, sorry, this was not phi, this was theta. Phi shouldn't get cancelled because we have to find that is an unknown. We know theta, we know Vm, we know r, we know omega, iota, L. What we don't know is Im and phi. So Im e raised power iota phi is equal to Vm over r plus j omega l e raised to j theta. This is a complex number, and a complex number in rectangular form can be converted to a complex number in polar form, and it will become r square plus omega square l square square root and e raised to the power e raised to power iota tan inverse omega L over R. This is that same complex number. So a complex number x plus iota y can be written as R e raised to power j theta, say, where this R is equal to square root of x square plus y square, and this theta is equal to tan inverse y over x. I'm using the same thing. So we know that for simplicity, we write it this polar form as r angle theta. So we can use that here as well. So the Im angle phi is equal to Vm angle phi over this thing, which is square root of r square plus omega square l square angle tan inverse omega L over R. So look at this expression, and can you now see, okay, here we have a complex number in the numerator and a complex number in the denominator. A complex number is being divided by a complex number. We are going to get Im angle phi is equal to Vm over square root r square plus omega square l square, and this basically what we have in the denominator e raised to power iota this thing, and when it goes in the numerator its sign changes, so we are going to get phi minus tan inverse omega L, sorry I keep mixing things, this is theta, omega L over R. So what do we get? A complex number here and a complex number here, a complex number on the left hand side and a complex number on the right hand side. So two complex numbers can only be equal if their magnitudes are equal and their angles are equal. So what do we get? Im, the current amplitude, is equal to the voltage amplitude divided by r square plus omega square l square. And what do we get? The phase angle of the current, output current, is equal to phase angle of the input voltage minus tan inverse omega L over R. This is the result, and now you can see that at the end we started with this thing. At the end I can write this thing that IT is equal to Im, which is this thing, Vm over r square plus omega square L square, and actually we started from here. This is Im. So, and we came to this point through this side. We added a complex, an imaginary term here to get this complex quantity. But if we have to go back all the way up, we can see that starting going back from this point, obviously this is not IT, this is a complex number I. This is a complex number, let us say it is not IT, it is some capital I, and this is some capital V. Okay, let us use a bar to signify that it is a complex number. A capital I often confuses with a constant, but this bar is going to tell this is a complex number, and there's a different quantity. We will name it later on. So this complex number, there is a complex input and a complex output. So we have found that complex output. But from where this complex output came, we started all the way from here. So now we can see this IM is the same as this IM. This omega is the same as this one. This phi is the same as this one. So getting what we got, we can now write what is IT equal to, and this cos omega t, the t which vanished from here, we can bring that back, plus phi, and what is that? Theta, the phase angle of the input source, minus tan inverse. And this part, tan inverse omega L over R with this negative sign, is how the circuit has changed the phase of the output. And this thing is exactly the same thing that we came up with in a previous example. For example, look at this expression. So this is this part. So omega is 1 here. This theta was 0. This theta was 0. And then this is the phase angle. And this is that magic, that magic happened here in the mathematical world. These complex numbers helped us solve this time domain sinusoidal system. The sinusoidal circuit, steady state sinusoidal analysis in time domain, was converted to handling complex signals because of this addition of this imaginary term to this real term. Use of superposition helped us write this one, and these are complex terms now, and solving this thing in complex domain helped us a lot. You may have missed this, but what is the benefit of using this complex number? If I ask you, why did we do this? Why we use these complex forms of representing the input voltage and the output current? Why? So have you not picked this thing up, that this differential equation, first order differential equation, has been solved without worrying about the derivative. So the complex numbers have helped us solve this like an algebraic equation. So having the solution as a complex number helped us solve the differential equation like we do in algebra, and the result was very easy. The dealing is in complex number, right? It's a bit longer computation, but it's not difficult. And we got the answer of a differential equation very easily. And then what we got due to the solution of the complex things, we got the unknown quantities, and that's what's important. Although what we got is a complex thing cannot occur in real life, but we just picked those things that we wanted in the real world and for the output in the real world, and we used that. And this is that inverse magic that happens. So once we know IM, once we know this phi, we say due to the inverse magic we can write this expression, and that's what's required. This whole thing, these complex numbers that we worked to argue that how they arrived from this real valued thing, is these complex numbers are known as phasors. This is a phasor current. This is a phasor voltage. And the word phasor means it's a complex quantity. It's a complex quantity, not a real thing. So all this analysis method that we are going to use now is known as phasor analysis or phasor transform. So the magic that had been happening till now is what a phasor transform is. How to use phasors or phasor transform to solve sinusoidal steady state analysis. This is very important. Phasors are used to solve sinusoidal steady state circuits. or phasors are used in sinusoidal steady state analysis. And where will sinusoidal steady state analysis be applied? When we are dealing with sinusoidal circuits. So we cannot change this source and say it's a DC source and then apply phasor. No, we cannot change the source and say it is a source like this, say Vt is equal to T. Now T is not a constant, T is not a sinusoid as well. So only when we are dealing with pure sinusoids is when we apply phasor transform. And what is a phasor? A phasor is a complex quantity. So from where these complex quantities are, they are not real, but we can use maths to simplify things. So we have solved this first order differential equation using these complex numbers or the phasors. And if you look closely, this is a complex number in polar form. Using Euler's identity, we can convert this, any number using Euler's identity, we can convert this from polar form to rectangular form, and you can very easily see that the real part of this complex number is what was our original signal. So the real part of this complex number is what is going to be the output that we desire. So you can later on say that using phasors, we can convert the sources from real to complex. And then remember that throughout the analysis, in reality, we are dealing with the real parts of these phasors. The real part of the phasor, when applied to this circuit, is going to result in a real part of this phasor at the output. This is what is happening. So I hope you have appreciated that how mathematics help us devise mechanisms that simplify things. And this is the beauty of mathematics and modeling.